certain day.
Oh, no.
Oh,
I knew
June.
you'd get excited as soon as you saw Harvey's slide.
Yeah, of course, I didn't hear anything else after that.
That's what I think.
All right, let's see. Shabbat Shalom, Chag Sameach. Welcome to Agudath Israel Etz Ahayem Synagogue here in Montgomery, Alabama. I am Rabbi Scott Kramer. Tonight is the second day of the holiday of Shavuot. The service is a little bit shorter because when there is a holiday and Shabbat coincide, we don't do Kabbalat Shabbat. So we will be doing a Ma'ariv service. In a moment, we'll begin on page 39. And then I will speak after, right before we do a Don Olam. So we begin page 39a. I ask everyone, now that you've gotten seated, everyone please rise for the Baruch Hu, the call to worship. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai Varach Le'olam Vaed. You may be seated. Baruch et Adonai, our God, sovereign of time and space, whose word brings the evening dusk, whose wisdom opens the gates of dawn, whose understanding changes the day's division, whose will sets the succession of seasons and arranges the stars in their places in the sky, who creates day and night, who rolls light before darkness and darkness from light, who makes day pass into night, who distinguishes day from night. Adonai Tzavaot is your name, living and ever-present God. May your rule be with us forever and ever. Baruch atah Adonai, who brings each evening's dusk. O Mahavir Yom Umevi Laila Mavdil Ben Yom Uvein Laila Adonai Tzavaot Shemo El Chai V'Kayam Tamid Yimo Chaleinu Lam Voed Baruch Atah Adonai Hamari V'Aravim. Page 40. Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amchavta Torah Mitzvot Chokim Mishpatim Otanu limadata al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shachveinu v'kumenu nasiach bechukecha v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha u'v'mitzvotecha le'olam v'oed. Ki hem chayenu be'orech yameinu uvahem nege yomam v'layla v'yavatcha tasimin menu la'olamim baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. V'yahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol me'odecha v'hayu hadvarim ho'ele Asher Anochi Mitzavacha Hayom Alavavecha Vishinanatam Levanecha V'dibarta Bam B'shivtecha B'veitecha Uvlechtecha V'derech Uvishachpecha V'kumecha Ukshartam Niot Al Yadecha V'hayu Latotafot Beinenecha Uchtabtam Nam Zuzot Beitecha Uvisharecha v'hayim shamoh tishma matzotah asher anochi. Zut bitecha visharech leman yubu yivemi yichin v'nechem. Vayomer Adonai o Moshe lemor daber el bnei Yisrael v'yamarta lehem v'yasu lehem tzitzit al kanfei vigdem ledoratam v'natnu al tzitzit hakana petiol techelet v'haya lachem letzitzit oritem oto uzchartem et kol mitzvot Adonai v'asitem otam V'lo tatu acharei levavachem v'acharei nechem asher tamzonim achareihem leman dizgaru v'azitem et kol mitzvotai v'item kadoshim le'elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher otzeiti etachem me'eretz Mitzrayim leot lachem le'elohim ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem Emet. Page 43a. This is our enduring affirmation binding on us that Adonai is our God and there is none other, and we, Israel, are God's people. God is our sovereign, redeeming us from earthly rulers, delivering us from the hand of all tyrants, bringing judgment upon our oppressors and just retribution upon all our mortal enemies, performing wonders beyond understanding and marvels beyond all reckoning. God places us among the living, not allowing our steps to falter, and leads us past the false altars of our enemies, exalting us above all those who hate us. Adonai avenged us with miracles before Pharaoh offered signs and wonders in the land of Egypt. God brought Israel from its midst to lasting freedom and led them through the divided waters of the Sea of Reeds, as their pursuers and enemies drowned in the depths. God's children beheld the power of the divine. They praised and acknowledged God's name. Page 44. U'malchuto b'ratzon ki baleeh Moshe u'vnei Yisrael chanishira b'simcha rabba v'yameru chulam Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedor ba'kodesh, norati lod o seifele. Malchutecha uvenecha bo kiyam lifnei Moshe, zeli anu v'yameru, Adonai yimloch leolam v'oed, v'nehemar kifadai Adonai et Yaakov, Ugalad mi chazak mimenu baruch ato Adonai Ga'al Yisrael. Page 45. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shlamanu. Ushmotzeitenu ve'enu l'chaim u'shlamiyata v'yad olam u'fosan l'schat shlamecha baruch ato Adonai Hapochet sukat shalom aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim. We rise, page 46. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-shabbat la'asot et ha-shabbat ledoratam barit olam. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-shabbat la'asot et ha-shabbat ledoratam barit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael oti le'olam, oti le'olam, oti le'olam. V'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-shabbat la'asot et ha-shabbat ledoratam barit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et ha-shamayim v'et ha'aretz v'shamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-shabbat לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת, וינפש שבת, וינפש שבת, וינפש ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורתם ברית עולם. We continue with the Amidah for the festival of Shavuot, which is on page 306 to 314. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov be'einecha levarech et amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. And we continue, page 56, as we rise as the ark is open for Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, latek gedula liotzer bereshit, shalo asanu kagoye haratzot, v'lo samanu kamishmachot ha'adama, shalo sam b'chelkeinu kahem v'goraleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim l'fnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu, she'hu notei shamayim v'yosid haaretz, u'moshe b'ikarav b'shamayim mimal, u'shchinatu zo begave meromim, hu Eloheinu einod, emet malkeinu evazulato, kakatu betorato, v'yadatayam v'ashivota elavavecha, ki Adonai hu Elohim, b'shamayim mimal, V'yal haaretz mitachat ein od al kein nitva l'Adonai Eloheinu v'yirot me'evdi v'evazachar. Kagadu b'toratecha Adonai moch le'lam v'oed ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד. You may be seated. This week we will observe yahrzeits for Nace Allen, Adolph Miller, Oscar Ehrlich, Jerome L. Berlin, Maurice Fleischman, Joan Empel Rosenblum, Eva Ehrlich, Richard Clemain, Phil H. Lipman, Randolph A. London, J. E. Plotka, Sarah Piha Shamaria, Myrtle Cohen, Amelie Franco, and Ruben Piha. Those observing yahrzeit and those who mourn, please rise and join me on page 58 for the Kaddish Tom, the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabba be'oma divrach chirutei v'yamlech malchutei v'chayichon v'yimechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael ba'agalav izman kariv yimaru amen. Yehi shmei rabam nevorach le'olam omel maya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitchomam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei kudisha barichu le'lam min kol birchata v'shirata v'tushbachata v'nechamata da'amiran b'yoma v'yimaru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yimaru amen. O se shalom b'mramav hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'yal kol Yisrael v'yimaru amen. You may be seated. So as I said earlier, today is the second day of a two-day holiday called Shavuot. This is the end of the period of counting that we started at the second Seder. If anybody was paying attention to the differences between the two Seders, there's a counting that we initiate at the second Seder. And each day we add a number until we get to the number 49, which was yesterday, and today is the 50th day of the counting. Well, 49 days of the counting of the Omer plus 1 takes us to the holiday of Shavuot, which is actually an ending for the holiday of Pesach. I know he seems nothing like it, and it's in the wrong season, but just like Shmini Atzeret ends Sukkot, this holiday in the Talmud is also called Atzeret, and it provides an ending for that holiday. Some of the traditions of Shavuot are people participate in what's called a Tikkun Leil Shavuot, which is an evening of study in very, very traditional congregations where you have a lot of people who know a lot of stuff. There will be a period of study beginning at midnight and going till dawn. And I have participated in those both in Los Angeles and in Jerusalem when I lived there for a year. In fact, the study that goes on all night ends about 4 a.m. in Jerusalem, at which point everybody gets up, walks out of their house, and walks towards the Kotel, the wall. And it is an amazing sight. We're not talking hundreds or thousands of people. We're talking about 200,000 people that are walking through Jerusalem at 4 a.m. To get to the wall for morning services of Shavuot. I was privileged to be part of a group that prayed at the Masorti Kotel. That's the part of the Western Wall where men and women are allowed to pray together. And I was able to do a Haftorah. That was one of the most amazing experiences I've ever had. So last night, via Zoom, we participated in not an all-night study. We did we actually had to quit because our internet left us. So I think we got about an hour in of about an hour and a half's worth of study. It was great. It was really, really a lot of fun. Shavuot is considered to be the dairy holiday, so as such, we eat cheesecake. So I had cheesecake last night. There's one for today. I think there's enough for all of us. So after services, enjoy cheesecake. This is one of the teachings that I shared last night. This was inspired by one of my teachers from the University of Judaism, Rabbi Eddie Feinstein. Rabbi Lawrence Kushner, who tragically died last week, tells of the time he brought a nursery school class into the synagogue sanctuary for a tour. He showed them the bima, the ner tamid, the cantors and rabbis' lecterns. Finally, the tiny kids stood before the huge doors of the Holy Ark, of the Aron HaKodesh. "What do you suppose is in there?" he asked them. "Nothing," one child answered. "It's empty." "A new car," another shouted. "An old Torah," responded another. I know, one child insisted. "It's a mirror." Each of the kids was right. For Jews distant and disconnected from Judaism, the first child was right. The ark is empty. Judaism is alien and barren of meaning and substance. For others, Judaism holds only a superficial aesthetic appeal. It's all bar mitzvah parties, bagels and lox on Sunday morning, and what we'll be wearing to Yom Kippur this year. Religion as cultural entertainment, a warm ethnic sentimentality without ethical or spiritual demands. For some, Judaism is a tired, old, depleted faith. They hear in it nothing important for a modern mind. What they do hear is interpreted as misogynist, racist, or coldly legalistic. But for those who are prepared to look deeply and imaginatively, the Ark contains a mirror, reflecting the truth about ourselves, our values, our accomplishments, and our limitations. Menachem Mendel, the Kotzker Rebbe, taught that the uniqueness of Hasidism was this: all Jews are taught you should not lie. Hasidim teach you shall not lie to yourself. It is this reflexive turn, the turn inward, that characterizes the Kotzker's Torah. At a Tikkun Leil Shavuot years ago, my teacher, Rabbi Harold Schulweis, also at Valley Beth Shalom in Encino, California, proposed this reflexive turn as a way to hear the Ten Commandments anew, because on Shavuot we celebrate the receiving of the Torah, the Ten Commandments from Mount Sinai. So he turned each commandment inward and challenged us to look deeply into the mirror of Torah. The sixth commandment, for example, teaches you shall not murder. Within this is the commandment, you shall not murder yourself. What are the ways we daily murder ourselves? You shall not steal from yourself. When do we steal from ourselves? What do we steal? And how do we make restitution? You shall not commit adultery against yourself. How have we adulterated ourselves, betraying sacred principles, betraying moral promiscuity and spiritual unfaithfulness? You shall not bear false witness against yourself. When do we offer false testimony about ourselves or to ourselves, and why? You shall not covet yourself. We covet when we simply cannot live knowing that a neighbor has possessions and position that aren't ours. We covet ourselves when we simply cannot live without all that was once ours but is no more. What are the attachments to the past that hold us back from the present and the future? Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Where is the sanctified Sabbath within you? Where is in your life is a place of peace, your haven and refuge from competition and conflict? Honor your mother and father within you. What does it mean to carry a father's love or a mother's wisdom within? What has become the fatherly and the motherly in you? You shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. What were the promises and commitments I once made to myself that were subsequently broken, ignored, or allowed to slip quietly into lazy neglect? You will have no other gods before me, including yourself. When have I made of myself the measure of all things and the center of the universe? I am the Lord your God. Where is the image of God within me? What have I done with that precious gift? This week on the festival of Shavuot, we celebrate the receiving of the gift of Torah, Zman Matan Toratenu, the time of the giving of the Torah, of receiving Torah, the mirror of our souls. It is ours, but only if we are brave enough to look deeply and honestly within. Chag Sameach. And with that, we will go ahead and I've closed my Siddur, so I have to find out where I am. We will end with Adon Olam. Oh, I found it, page 211. Adon Olam asher malach b'terem ko yitzir nivra li'ed nasa v'chefso ko azai melech shemo nikra azai melech shemo nikra v'yacharei kichlot hakol levado yimloch nora Ve'hu haya, ve'hu hoveh, ve'hu yiyeh b'tifara, ve'hu yiyeh b'tifara, ve'hu echad v'yein sheni, l'ham shelo lehachbira, beli reshit, beli tachlit, v'lo ha'oz v'hamisra, v'lo ha'oz v'hamisra, Ve'hu eli v'chai go'ali v'tzur chevli b'yetzara Ve'hu nisi umanosli minat kosi b'yom mekra minat kosi b'yom mekra b'yado avkid ruchi b'yet ishan v'yaira v'yimaruchi geviyati Adonai li v'lo ira, Adonai li v'lo ira. Shabbat shalom and Chag Sameach.